Sir, in the glittering heart of New York City, where wealth whispers through Marble Hall, ways a stunning betrayal unfolds, as Evelyn Harper, the icy millionaire's wife, stands poised to shred the dignity of her loyal black maid Lila. You won't believe what happens next. His reaction will leave you speechless! If you love your mom and dad, hit that subscribe button and show some love to her. Sergeant Zhao, the grand chandelier cast a golden glow over the Harper mansion, its crystal prisms reflecting off the polished oak floors where Evelyn Harper stood, her manicured fingers clutching a glass of champagne. The room buzzed with the low hum of elite conversation, a gathering of New York's wealthiest, their tailored suits and designer gowns a testament to their status. At the center of it all was Lila Jackson, the black maid, who had served the Harper family for over a decade, her navy uniform crisp and unassuming as she moved silently among the guests with a tray of hors d'oeuvres. Lila's dark eyes flickered with quiet resilience, a stark contrast to the opulence surrounding her. But tonight something was different. Evelyn's sharp gaze followed her every move, a storm brewing behind her polished facade. The mansion itself seemed to hold its breath, a silent witness to the drama about to unfold, its walls adorned with priceless art, and its corridors echoing with the footsteps of a privileged past. Sutter Evelyn, with her platinum blonde hair swept into an elegant chignon and a pearl necklace gleaming against her beige blazer, had always been a figure of control. Her husband, Victor Harper, a self-made millionaire with a reputation for kindness, watched from across the room, his graying temples catching the light as he laughed with a business associate. The couple's marriage had been the talk of the city, perfect on the surface, yet beneath it lay cracks no one dared to mention. Lila knew those cracks better than most. She had witnessed Evelyn's temper, the late-night arguments, and the way Victor's eyes softened when he spoke to her, the maid, with a warmth he rarely showed his wife. It was a secret burden Lila carried, one she never intended to exploit. Over the years she had become more than a servant, a confidante to Victor, who often sought her wisdom during his moments of doubt. This unspoken bond had grown in the shadows of the mansion, a fragile thread that Evelyn had begun to suspect. Xie, the tension snapped when Evelyn set her glass down with a deliberate clink, her heels clicking against the floor as she approached Lila. The room fell into a hush, guests turning their heads as if sensing the impending drama. Evelyn's lips curled into a sneer as she grabbed the front of Lila's uniform, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. This uniform is a disgrace, she hissed, her fingers tearing at the fabric. The sound of ripping cloth echoed and gasps rippled through the crowd as Lila's uniform split open, exposing her vulnerability to the stunned onlookers. Lila froze, her hands trembling as she tried to cover herself, her dignity stripped away in an instant. The guests stood paralyzed, some averting their eyes, others whispering behind manicured hands, the air thick with shock and judgment. Dr. Victor's reaction was immediate. He crossed the room in 3 strides, his face a mask of fury as he seized Evelyn's wrist. "What have you done?" he roared, his voice shaking the room. The guests stared wide-eyed as Victor shrugged off his jacket and draped it over Lila's shoulders, his hands gentle but firm. "Get out," he said to Evelyn, his tone icy. The room held its breath as Evelyn's composure shattered, her face contorting with rage and humiliation. She stormed out, her heels echoing into the night, leaving behind a stunned silence that seemed to swallow the mansion whole. The guests exchanged glances, unsure whether to follow or remain, their evening irrevocably altered by the spectacle. Ta-da! But the story didn't end there. As Lila, still shaken, retreated to the kitchen, Victor followed her, his expression softening. "I'm so sorry," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. It was then that Lila revealed a secret she had kept for years. She was pregnant, and the child was Victor's. The revelation hit like a thunderclap. Their affair, born from late-night conversations and a mutual loneliness, had been a forbidden thread woven into the fabric of the Harper household. It had begun innocently enough, with Victor seeking solace after a particularly harsh argument with Evelyn. Lila's kindness had drawn him in, and over time their connection deepened into something neither could resist. Victor's shock turned to resolve as he vowed to protect her and the child, a decision that would upend his empire and challenge the very foundation of his life. Certain word of the scandal spread like wildfire. The next morning tabloids blazed with headlines, and Evelyn, now exiled from the mansion, plotted her revenge. She hired a private investigator to dig into Lila's past, uncovering a minor criminal record from her youth. A shoplifting charge long forgotten. Armed with this, Evelyn returned to the mansion demanding custody of the unborn child, claiming Lila was unfit. The legal battle that ensued was brutal, with Evelyn leveraging her wealth and connections against Lila's modest means. Victor, torn between his love for Lila and the public disgrace, stood by her side, but the pressure mounted. The media camped outside the mansion, photographers snapping every move, while Evelyn's lawyers painted Lila as a gold digger in the court of public opinion. The first twist came during a heated court hearing. Evelyn's investigator presented forged documents suggesting Lila had a history of violence, a fabrication meant to seal her defeat. But Lila, with Victor's support, hired her own attorney, who uncovered the forgery through a meticulous review of the evidence. The courtroom turned against Evelyn as the judge dismissed her claims, her credibility in tatters. Yet the victory was bittersweet. Lila's reputation had been dragged through the mud, and the media frenzy only intensified. Victor faced backlash from his business partners, who threatened to pull their investments, leaving him to grapple with the cost of his choices. As months passed, Lila gave birth to a healthy baby girl, whom she named Amara, meaning grace. Victor publicly acknowledged the child, resigning from his company to focus on his new family, a move that shocked the business world. The announcement was met with a mix of admiration and scorn, but Victor remained steadfast. He sold his luxury cars and downsized his lifestyle, determined to build a future with Lila and Amara. But Evelyn wasn't done. In a final desperate act, she staged a break-in at the mansion, planting evidence to frame Lila for theft. The police arrived, and for a moment it seemed Lila's freedom was at stake. However, Victor's security team had installed cameras capturing Evelyn's actions on tape. The footage was presented to the authorities, leading to her arrest on charges of perjury and attempted fraud. The mansion, once a symbol of wealth and discord, transformed into a home of redemption. Victor and Lila married in a quiet ceremony, their love a quiet defiance against the chaos. The guests who had witnessed Evelyn's initial outburst returned this time to celebrate a new beginning. The event was simple yet profound, with Amara's laughter filling the air. Yet the final twist came in the form of a letter from Evelyn, written from prison. She confessed to years of manipulating Victor's business dealings, revealing she had siphoned millions into offshore accounts. The revelation forced Victor to liquidate his assets to repay investors, leaving him a man of modest means, but unburdened by his past. The letter also contained an apology, a rare glimpse of remorse that left Victor and Lila stunned. As the Harper family adjusted to their new life, the mansion stood empty, a relic of a bygone era. Lila, Victor, and little Amara moved to a quaint house in upstate New York, where they found peace amid the rolling hills. The transition was not easy. Victor struggled with the loss of his former status, while Lila worked to rebuild her confidence after the public ordeal. They found solace in community gardening and local charity work, their new life a stark contrast to the opulence they once knew. The scandal that had once defined them faded into a cautionary tale, whispered at galas and boardrooms. Victor's reaction that fateful night, not just to Evelyn's cruelty, but to his own choices, had indeed left the house speechless, a turning point that reshaped their destinies. The years that followed brought further healing. Amara grew into a bright child, her curiosity a reflection of the love that surrounded her. Victor opened a small consulting firm, while Lila pursued a degree in social work, determined to help others who had faced similar struggles. The Harper name, which had once been synonymous with wealth, became a symbol of resilience. Yet the memory of that night lingered, a reminder of how one moment could unravel a life and rebuild it anew. The mansion was eventually sold, its proceeds donated to a foundation supporting domestic workers, a fitting tribute to Lila's journey. Now, as you've followed this dramatic journey, I'd love to hear from you. From which part of the country are you watching this video? Drop your location in the comments below. Ta-da.